Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you'll be listening to a hypnosis session that was created for a client that had a prolonged health issue that was very detrimental to the quality of his life. And he had a deep conviction that he would get through it, but at the same time growing increasingly frustrated that all the different approaches weren't necessarily working. And what was evident is that when I was speaking with him, he was using phrases like, what if this doesn't work? Or this really has to work this time. And what he was doing is he was making every attempt to improve his health as a binary response, all or nothing. And because of that, it kind of had connotations of, if this thing doesn't work, all hope is lost. And although there was a legitimate sense of desire to improve his health and figure out a way of fixing it, that element of pressure and raising the stakes would very likely increase the possibility of elements of the sympathetic nervous system kicking in. So increased adrenaline, cortisol, stress responses. And when the body's in that hypervigilant state, generally, while it's very good for a war, it's not good for peacetime. While it's good being, having your sympathetic nervous system kicking in if you're being chased by a tiger, it's not if you're relaxing in the sunshine. So by him raising the stakes of his different approaches, he was actually encouraging his body unconsciously to be in this hypervigilant state, which isn't conducive to actually improving health. So you're going to hear a metaphor in this hypnosis session that is based on a prison metaphor. And a prison metaphor is a really good metaphor because it encourages the brain to think of, how do I escape? What strategy would actually get me from this? So in this context, the prison represents a life with ill health. And the rolling of the dice represents trying different things, okay? If he had the belief system that he could only roll the dice once and never again, which is the way he was naturally thinking about these kind of approaches, then it makes sense to be very stressed about that process of rolling the dice. If, however, you know that you've got effectively unlimited rolls of the dice, then the psychology changes to, well, if this time it doesn't get the response I want, then perhaps the next time it will. That sooner or later, I'm going to be out of this place that I don't want to be in. And what that does is it does two very powerful things. It takes the pressure off any one thing needing to work, which is really important to lower the stakes and reduce anxiety levels. The second thing is it has a really strong presupposition that eventually he will find the right combination and he will get his normal life back. The second part of the hypnosis session is about creating a compelling vision of the future. And if you think about what hope is not an expectation. It's the thinking that there's a possibility of something more desirable. And he's been very much focused on a life with living with this health condition. But it does make sense to kind of get the unconscious mind considering a possible life where he doesn't have this health condition anymore. And he had done lots and lots of research on this health condition, and in his opinion, this was a fixable thing if he got the right combination right, which is why the dice analogy is helpful in this context. If you are living with a prolonged health condition that is detrimental to the quality of your life. One of his big frustrations is that, people didn't really empathize and understand his health condition, that if he had something a bit more obvious like cancer or leukemia, then he would get a better understanding from the people around him. But because people didn't understand his health condition, that was a frustration and kind of put more feelings of pressure on him to find a resolution. But if you're listening to this and you have some kind of health condition which affects your quality of life, particularly mental health, there will be a link nearby where you can book a free 30-minute consultation call with me. But at the same time, and I've deliberately not specified the health condition here because I want whoever's listening to kind of relate to the core essence of, even if it isn't fixable, can you improve the quality of your life by trying different things? This is particularly important for lots of chronic conditions or autoimmune issues, things like, ME, for example, or, lots of things like fibromyalgia and things that, Lyme disease, things that really tap into energy levels, create lots of fatigue and those kind of things. So hopefully you will find this a useful session to do two key things. Sow the seed that a better life is possible if you try different approaches. That creates a feeling of hope. And then the second thing is imagining what life would be like if things could, let's say, quote unquote, go back to normal. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, with your eyes closed, notice that as you release that breath, it feels like feelings of tension or stress are just leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, just notice that the longer the inward breath, the more of that resourceful relaxation is going in, and the slower and more purposefully the exhale, the more it feels like tension and stress is leaving your body. And therefore, just by breathing in and breathing out, you're able to go deeper and deeper, relaxed. As your body relaxes, your imagination becomes more active, more playful. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine you are flying above the theater of dreams. Perhaps you did this as a child. Just imagine you can fly. And I want you to imagine flying over this impressive stadium. It's on a day where there's nothing going on. It's completely empty, private, secure. And just imagine that you're flying over and then landing right in the middle of this stadium known as the Theatre of Dreams. I want you to imagine there is something that looks like a hot tub right there in the center circle. I want you to imagine that this is a hot tub made of healing minerals in the water. Imagine that sports scientists, gurus from around the world have created a particular combination of minerals in water at a particular temperature that facilitates rapid healing. And you would imagine that some of the best players in the world would have access to the smartest minds and the latest technology. Imagine that this hot tub of warm mineral water facilitates rapid healing. I want you to imagine climbing into it, that you're wearing whatever is appropriate to allow your body to experience the heat of the water, the feeling of the water. I want you to get a sense that being here in this location, in this contraption, enables you to relax even deeper. Imagine that the minerals, the water, and perhaps there's jets that start to shoot bubbles of air against your muscle tissue, facilitating even more relaxation. In fact, I'm going to count down from 5 to 1. And with each descending number, you're going to find yourself going 10% deeper relaxed. And when I arrive at 0, you will imagine what it would be like to fall asleep there in that hot tub and drift off into a sleep with a vivid dream. After all, you are in the theater of dreams. Starting to count 5, arms and legs just getting heavier and heavier, feeling so relaxed in that warm water. 4, relaxing muscles around your eyebrows, eyelids, around your eyes and your forehead, releasing that tension. Now, 3, finding yourself go deeper and deeper relaxed as your internal organs start to relax. Your lungs relax, heart relaxes, stomach and gut, they all relax, and in doing so, imagine there's a dial inside your mind. A dial that when it's on high, you're hyper-vigilant, on full alert. And imagine turning that dial all the way down to deep relaxation. You don't need to be focused, anxious, high alert in this place. You can turn that dial all the way down to enable you to really feel deeply relaxed. That's it. And then 2, just feeling like your legs all the way down to your toes are just relaxing. Neck and shoulders relaxing. And then 1, imagine falling asleep safely in that hot tub, in that stadium, in your imagination. And then in that sleep space, I want you to imagine that you're dreaming that you are in a prison, a single cell in a prison. I want you to get a sense that you are in a place where you don't want to be. But I want you to get a sense also that there is a way out of this prison. I want you to imagine there is a single die, one of a set of 2 dice. I want you to imagine the size of that, the texture of it, the numbers on it. Imagine it has 6 sides. Feel the weight of that die. Imagine rubbing your finger and thumb over the numbers to feel the texture of the numbers on each face. Each face a different number. Opposite sides always adding up to 7. And if you can get a sense of holding that die in your hand, there in a room with a table that you're trapped in, just let me know by nodding your head. And I wonder what would happen if you knew that once per week you can roll that dice on that table, and if you roll a 6, you are free to leave this prison. You might be frustrated that you can't just magically get to that number 6 straight away. But equally, there might be a rule in this prison that you either use it or you lose it. You have one roll per week, and if you don't choose to roll the die, you have no chance whatsoever of escaping this prison. And even if you roll it, there is no guarantee you're going to get the 6 required for you to escape this prison. But you know, just as they know, that by rolling it you have a chance of getting your life back, of returning to normality. I want you to imagine it's week 1 and you're rolling that die, and maybe it lands on a 1 or a 2 or a 4, any number but a 6. And I want you to get a sense that the immediate thought that comes into your mind is an element of, I'll get another chance next week. I want you to accept the suggestion that in life you either win or you learn. And if you didn't get the number that you wanted, well, perhaps there's something you can learn from that experience. And even if the only thing that you learned is that you don't win on every occasion. You can't guarantee you get what you want just by attempting. Feel that feeling of acceptance resonate through your body. Imagine it's another week. You roll the die again, and yet again, it isn't a 6. I want you to get comfortable with uncertainty. You're not in control of the number in the same way that you're not in control of many other variables in your life. But equally, you have to be in it to win it. And therefore, just being willing to roll that dice once each week means that sooner or later, you will get the number that you need and you will win your way to freedom. A freedom where life is at the level that you desire it. Notice that as each week passes, you can get better at relaxing with uncertainty. You don't have this attitude that my life depends on rolling one number. You're not worrying too much of, will this work? Will I get a 6? But more that, sooner or later, you will get a 6. And sooner or later, you will be able to get your life back. But you still have to pick up the die. You still have to roll the dice. Certain things require effort, sometimes research, sometimes doing things you don't normally do. And notice that the more you're relaxed, the more you detach yourself from the need to control your future. Sure, you can influence your future, because if you never roll the dice, you would stay in this prison forever. But by choosing to roll the die once each week, you're taking steps to secure your freedom, with no guarantee. But you know that the probability of you getting your life back increases every time you roll that dice. I want you to feel that self-acceptance expanding, increasing inside you. I want you to get a sense of appreciating how far you've already come. You know now more than you did before. You know what protocols work and which ones don't. You know more about your condition, what can make it worse, what can make it better. I want you to get a sense that this isn't Groundhog Day for you, because each day is slightly different from the day before, because you're slightly different from the version of you before. Biologists know this, that in a human body, after a few years, there isn't a single cell present in the new body that was there many years before in that old body, which means every single cell has been replaced. You still feel like you, but there isn't a single cell of you that was there all those years ago. Think of yourself as a baby. Not a single cell still exists. Think of you as a child. Not a single cell of you still exists. Think of you as a teenager and realize that yet again, there isn't a single cell of that version of you that exists in the current version. And yet, are you still hanging on to some of the things you believed as a teenager? Wouldn't it be strange for someone that doesn't have a single cell in common with an earlier version of them would still keep hold of those beliefs and limitations that are still holding them back? And if you're ready to let go of some of those things that you've been holding on to that no longer serve you, just let me know by nodding your head. And as you let them go, realize that yet another week has passed, and now it's time to roll that dice once more. And as you roll that dice, notice that after a wobble, there it does. It lands on a 6. I want you to get a sense that it required patience. It required perspective. It required controlling what you can control and accepting what you can't. And then find yourself being let out of your prison into your future life. A life where you have health, vitality, confidence. I want you to get a sense that sometimes you need to go without to appreciate what is really important. Sometimes those people that appreciate life the most are those that had the toughest journey. If things are given too easy, how do you learn? How do you evolve? How do you improve? I want you to think about the children of millionaires and billionaires that sometimes, because they didn't have to go through the struggle of their parents, have weak lives, riddled with anxiety and self-doubt. Sometimes the struggle is necessary to shape our character, to become the people that we're meant to be. And what if everything that you've gone through wasn't to punish you, wasn't to hold you back, but to prepare you for your future, giving you a sense of perspective, enabling you to really appreciate all the good things that are there in your future. If your unconscious mind accepts that even good things can come from bad experiences, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine that in this future life, you now found yourself in an ideal home, in an ideal environment. Look at yourself in the mirror, see yourself beaming with health. Imagine doctors telling you that they don't know how you did it, but those things that they were worried about before, they're no longer worried about anymore. We can't guarantee the future, but we can set the intention of the future that we want. The clearer you are on your future, the more you will unlock the resources, consciously and unconsciously, that increase the probability of creating that very future. So many athletes that have won gold medals are happy to tell people that they saw that future before it happened. I want you to create a compelling vision of your future. Why would you try and escape the prison if you don't know what you're escaping to? And the clearer you are on that future, in all its detail, who are you? What are you doing? How do you spend your time? What is possible for you at that stage in your life? And the clearer you are on your future, the more you are programming your subconscious mind to help gravitate you towards this destiny. I want you to imagine you in your future as healthy, but also as someone with a cool, calm temperament. There was a version of you in the past that was easy to trigger, easy to rile up, easy to provoke, and yet this version of you in the future is not that kind of person. A version of you that is confident in your own skin, that knows your worth, that appreciates all those things that make you unique. And the more comfortable you become in who you are, how can your body reject something that you at your core have accepted? And I want you to notice the more that you truly accept yourself and your imperfections, the less your body can fight yourself. And if your unconscious mind is ready to stop fighting you and to now work with you, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. It's now time to leave this place and find yourself back in a futuristic hot tub in the middle of a center circle in one of the most famous stadiums in the world. I want you to imagine leaving that place, drying off your body, but feeling healthy, feeling willing to roll the dice and try different combinations of nutrition, sleep, mindset, life choices, all the different things that are within your control. I want you to get a sense that you are now willing to relax with uncertainty, to roll the dice with no guarantee that it will land on the number that you need or want. But knowing that the more you attempt things, the more you either make progress or figure out what isn't working. You either win or you learn. And then realize that this theater of dreams is still within your imagination, and actually you're listening to my voice firmly in the present. All parts of you returning to the present in your physical body, but returning with an attitude of health and acceptance. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you're in your own physical body right now. As I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox. the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.